Action.
La hora del Eskwilax en vivo desde 2015.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Eskwilax Hour. This is 177. I'm your host, Efrain. And today we're here with Danny Brown.
How you guys doing?
Thank you for being here with us, man. We were just chatting it up before the actual interview, guys. Thank you for being here. The Eskwilax Hour. We bring you art, paintings, local news, small businesses. So you guys know any of those people, send them our way. And yeah, today we're just gonna like as usual. It's shooting on a Monday, and we're just chilling, and we get to learn a little bit about Danny today. Did I get it right?
Yeah, for sure.
You guys know me. I have terrible memory, terrible. And it turns out that I forgot my shades. Hold up.
I put them on one time.
Oh, there you go. Terminator Oaxaqueño.
For sure.
There you go. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. And we were talking about how we're fellow Oaxaqueños.
Yeah, shout out to the Pueblo.
Shout out
to
out
the
there.
motherland.
What section you say? What area was it?
I got family in the city, so by El Centro, and then Jojo Islan, and then I got family in the Pueblo, Santa Maria Hatianguis. So those are the two parts that I frequently visit.
That's dope, man. Did you grow up there, or you just go check it out now and then?
No, my family's from there. So like my mom's from the city and my dad's from a pueblo, and they came out here to California and had me. But they made sure that I knew like my history and the importance of like Zapotec people and then the history of Mexico. So I have that, you know.
That's right. We know our roots, know where we come from, or where our lineage comes from.
Yeah, the Cloud people.
Yeah. I think for us, I think what do we call? I forgot what we call ourselves. But yeah, it's similar to that. Cause I'm from Valles Centrales, guys, San Lucas Chiavini. It's on the other side. Shout out if you're from San Lucas, and so no, it's always good to meet a fellow artist that's from Oaxaca, cause we're out here, but we're sometimes we're kind of in the background doing like the other types of jobs.
Yeah,
But definitely, man, it's good to meet.
we're out the city too. We have a strong presence in Chicago, in the Bay Area, Nevada, Utah,
Up in the farms,
Texas.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all around.
that's right, man. So let me ask you this real quick. My first question: What is it like? What is it like to be an artist in 2023?
I mean, it would kind of be like, what type of artist do you want to be, and your interpretation of what an artist is. For me, my lens is, or how I view it is, what do you want to express, and how do you want the public, if you want the public to perceive it, I think that's kind of two questions how I look at it. So it's because you can be an artist, visual artist, a musicianal artist. You can be musically inclined. You can be a good writer. But as far as like visual artists, I think like you have something to say, and then you're trying to articulate how you want people to view it.
Yeah, man, that's great. What about life as an artist in the city? Like, how has this city treated you as an artist? Has there been a lot of opportunities out here?
Yeah, I feel like you find your community in the city. I feel like California right now has a good art scene right now. There's a lot of galleries coming up. There's a lot of people doing great shows. Um, there's a lot of opportunity as opposed to like, if you're from a city that doesn't prioritize art. Because again, art is kind of like a luxury, like to sit down and think of like, okay, like these are the ideas I want to convey, or these are the ideas I'm thinking, and then you can visually sit down and see how you want to convey that to the public. So I think that in itself is kind of like interesting because there's a lot of people who can show what they're thinking and they have something worthwhile to say, whether it's political or just the idea of just image making and pushing that forward, with technique and stuff.
And how like have you always stayed in like Los Angeles, or have you moved around and tried like being an artist in like a different city or?
I'm born and raised in Southern California, but I've had the opportunity to go up north, Vegas, Arizona, Utah, Jersey, and I wouldn't say that I was trying to be an artist there, but I was fortunate enough, and then Mexico, of course, but like I was fortunate enough to see other cultures, and that kind of opens your eyes to like community. So when you come back out here, I feel like because California is diverse with all the area codes, like you can go to the beach one day, go to Beverly Hills, or you can go out. Right now we're in downtown, or you go even San Diego's not too far. You have the luxury of seeing what other people are doing and how you fit in those communities. There's a strong Latin America presence there, and I feel like that's cool and it's inspiring because a lot of our identity is shaped out here. Not to say not in Texas or in Arizona, but like a lot of the murals here are fortunate to tell the history of like California and our people as well. Whether it be Mexicans, Central Americans, or people with indigenous roots.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, so as a kid growing up here, like you saw the murals, like was that part of your inspiration, or how did
Uh,
you like start becoming an artist? How did you like, pick up your first pen or crayon?
my folks they were like hardworking. I don't know how I got into art, but I remember drawing cartoons as a kid. I remember drawing like Scooby Doo and SpongeBob, and I remember drawing. And then my parents used to keep the drawings. They kind of showed me like later, like, oh, this is the stuff you used to do as a kid. And I feel like at a young age, I was kind of like I was conceptually thinking a lot of stuff far advanced for like my age. But yeah, I don't know how I got into art, but I didn't know anything when I went to school. I think my teachers kind of like pushed me to pursue because they thought I had a shot to do it, and it was fun to do. No one told me to draw. I just liked it, and colors are always it's intuitive. I don't have to think about like color palettes. I can just pick whatever colors I have and kind of make them work together. Uh, what was the question? My
Oh,
bad.
as a kid,
Oh
like
yeah,
how'd you start?
yeah. So in the high school, I remember trying to do a portrait of like Tupac, and I couldn't do it.
Oh,
And because like I was good at drawing other stuff, like it was kind of frustrating that I couldn't do it. So I had spent that whole year trying to do that portrait, and eventually like it came out photorealistically, and it was cool because it challenged me. It got me doing something that I normally don't draw, like portraits. I feel like it's very intimidating, and that's kind of like where people would want to start at, and their conceptual understanding of art. And then I went to community college, and everyone there was hella good. And I'm not
oh
gonna
yeah,
lie, bro. Like they all
yeah,
had.
yeah. You don't realize that when you get to the level where everyone's at, you're like, oh shit.
You're not as good as you think.
Yeah, yeah. There's always the next guy,
Yeah.
but it's a good challenge. It's a good
Yeah.
challenge to keep improving it on your own art.
Yeah.
Because right now you mentioned like how you did the Tupac portrait.
Yeah.
See, when I ran into that in high school, I just stopped. I was like, yo, I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
Like,
Nah.
I just gave up. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna stick to cartoons. Cause see, you went past that. How long did it take you to do the Tupac portrait?
I think they gave us like 6 months. That was like the final because
Yeah.
the first they have you drawing like spears, and then
Yeah.
you do like color blocking and a lot of like design patterns, and then yeah, like the rest of the year you get to kind of finish it out. And I wish I would have took those art programs after that art class, but I was kind of like not discouraged. It's because like the art scene or like theater people, like they have like they have to you have to stay after class, and I just want to hang out with my friends at that
Yeah,
time, you
yeah.
know. So that's why I didn't try it until like I went to community college and really started to pursue it, you know. But I feel like if I would have took those classes, I would have had a better start when I started going to actual school to it for it, you know.
So then you went to community college for art, right? Did you transfer somewhere else, or you just?
Yeah, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I felt like I was just taking my general ed. So if I wanted to transfer to like a UC or a Cal State, you know, like the foundation, I feel like most
Yeah.
kids don't know what they're doing. We're kind of just told like, hey, go to school, you know, like especially if your parents are first generation, you know, they push school on you a lot, and
Yeah, they do kind of throw you in there. They don't tell you all the
yeah,
financial stuff behind it.
yeah, or yeah, they just like their perspective is they just want a better life for you, but they don't understand it, so they're hoping like you could figure it out. So you know, I did my general eds, and I took a bunch of art classes on the side, and I remember my counselor her telling me that, hey, you know, if you want to take this serious, you should check out this school in Pasadena called Art Center. Like, you'll have like a higher percentage of doing this as a career as opposed to like going to other school because they're kind of known for design, which you can look at it as not art because there's like a language or fundamentals to it. You know, there's and then you can argue that art is very subjective and design is very like there's rules to it, you know. So I went to design school, and yeah, it opened my eyes culturally, and then you know, in college too, like your ideas are always challenged, which I think is a good thing, you know. Like, I know some friends who have never left like the area they're from, and it kind of gives you insight onto like how other people were brought up, and it's cool, you know. You start to question the things you were taught and stuff like that. So I mean, if you, and college isn't for everyone, but if you have the luxury to go and want to explore, you could do a semester and drop out, get some financial aid money. But yeah, it's cool to see how like other ways of learning if you're an academic learner, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hate towards people that that did go to school and did
Yeah,
go that route. Because there are artists that made it big without doing any of that.
yeah,
So it's just a choice, and depending on the situation,
yeah,
if you get to go, you get to go. If you don't, pues,
yeah.
you gotta try to.
You kind of don't need it because all
Yeah,
it just teaches you like how to draw. It doesn't tell you like what to think or how to think, and I think that's what kind of separates you from everyone else. Because it's like if you have something worthwhile saying and hasn't been said, you know, like more people will listen, as opposed to like good you learn how to draw a person or an object. What's next? You know, I feel like that idea has already been like covered, you know, and now we're trying to figure out what what is what do people have to say in this climate, in this context of time, you know, whether it be serious or funny, you know. Not everything has to be deep, you know. Like some people are trying to escape, you know. 2023 or after the pandemic, or you know, it's been kind of rough for people, you know. Some people want to escape through entertainment, and that's cool too, you know.
yeah. I mean, like 2020, what is 2020 to 2022? When was all those 2 years just kind of disappeared for a lot of people. A lot of
Yeah,
people just got very creative, or just stopped.
got off the grid, you
Yeah,
know.
just stopped or just left. Or um, were you in school during that time, or
No, I graduated, I want to say spring of 2018.
okay?
So I was fortunate enough to work with alumni from my school, and I appreciate them for helping me out and understanding the business of creating. And each artist has their own method, and I think that's cool because, you know, like as a creative, there's no one way to do it. You have to
Yeah,
figure out what works for you, and seeing that kind of like. Uh, Inspired because it's like, okay, like you pick your work hours, you pick what you want to paint, and then on top of that, like figure out how to create. And then and you what I've noticed from like all the artists I've worked for is they're constantly creating, and it's not like a deadline they have to do. It's just that they love
yeah,
making stuff, which is cool, you know. And I feel like as any creative, like whether you have the resources or not, like you're always constantly making stuff, whether it be like in a sketchbook on the back of a receipt, or you know, out if you're drawing outside, like you have this like urge to keep making stuff, which is always cool,
Yeah, I mean, once an artist, always an artist. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, like you'll see art in many things where there's like you're saying on a receipt or like on a shoe, or if you got it, you're gonna just throw it out there.
yeah. Or you're constantly looking at stuff because that's the thing too. Like, you got to get inspired or decompress and analyze what you've been going through because that is so you can't get burnt out by constantly making stuff.
Yeah.
So it's cool to decompress and enjoy like the stuff that you made and spend time with others because like I feel like that spiritually like helps you and like puts you forward, because you can stay locked in the studio and then like not see outside, but then I think at a certain point you might hit a wall, but if you can keep going, but you got to go outside, talk to people, and then because art, I feel like we're very creative people. We think the impossible is possible. So it's also cool to be grounded, like working with talking to everyday people, and that's when I figured out like it's a luxury. Like
Yeah.
I have friends who are working electrical work, and they don't really think about design and art, and it's cool to see like what the things that they prioritize first, as opposed to like design.
Yeah, man, it's interesting to meet people that know nothing about art or
Yeah.
never think. Yeah, like you're saying, nobody they don't think about it. Like their creativity has been, I guess, just kind of like burned out
Yeah.
just because the ways they were brought up or the way they, the
It's also
way what they work in.
it's also intimidating because like some people are creative but they don't know the foundation and people don't want to fail in front of people, because to think about like making work and having an audience who don't know you judge you, like that's kind of like it that's an interesting thing. So like as creatives, like I kind of not tend to judge because I got to remember I was there at one point and it's very something personal because no one's telling you to make stuff, it's just like these are the things I'm thinking about, and then I want the public to react to it if they can extract something for it, and some people choose to like make work about their trauma and how they work through it, which is very it's cool. It's because it's the art can be therapeutic, and then there's other people who make work that just like for a design aspect of like escapism or just that they're trying to write themselves in art history from a Western perspective. I think that's also interesting. And then you just have people who make work and never show it, and that's cool too. So there's a lot of ways to approach it, and I think the labels kind of like make it yeah, what, and then you got to define what success is when you're making work.
Yeah.
Like is it selling a work or is it getting out an idea that you always wanted to get out? And then because I know artists who make like one painting a year and it's beautiful, and then I know artists who can crank out like 10 drawings a day, and then that's crazy too. And then you can get into the argument: is it quantity over quality, or is
Yeah.
it there's a lot of ways you can look at it.
Yeah, definitely, man. You dropped a lot of good knowledge on us right now. It's great to always hear a different perspective of every artist we meet.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, like as an artist, like you're saying, being creative and the definition of success is for each one of us is different. Like some of us just want a studio.
yeah,
Some artists want to be there, see their faces on a billboard, see their work on a billboard. Some artists, they just want to be able to just paint. Have the ability to paint, like especially if they're like ill or
yeah,
in that type of situation where some other like other artists like myself take it. What do you call it? You take it for granted,
yeah,
but I guess it's just like in my case, it's about challenging
Yeah.
myself as an individual. Like I painted a 2 feet by 3 feet. Can I paint a whole mural?
yeah.
And that's kind of how it works for me.
Yeah, you should set goals for yourself. Whether like I've done these type of paintings. Now I want to like scale it up, and then
Because I'm looking at your work. Your work is pretty big. So
yeah. Well, right now I'm in the process of like figuring out what I want to say because I think like when I first graduated, I was just making work that was very design focused, and I think it helped out a lot just because like there's like like you would want to say like the art world is a big market, so like anyone can participate in it. Uh, so like if I found a niche where it was like if I make aesthetically pleasing drawings that were like very graphic and like had a nice color palette, it's easy to digest because there's no real deep thought into making the work because the people who have the funds or the luxury to buy expenses like I doubt that they want to buy work that's criticizing their ideology. You know, like if you're attacking the wealthy, like, and you're getting money from the wealthy, it's kind of like ironic. You know, so like
yeah, I've had those conversations with people before.
yeah,
Um, yeah, some people I've known that have walked away from it because of that.
yeah,
Because like their idea of being an artist was like, whoa, like I'm selling to a certain market, and this is exactly what I was fighting as an artist. And
yeah,
then they stepped away from the whole art, just creating, which
yeah.
is sad. But
But yeah, and then I think now I'm trying to figure out that medium because like a lot of the work was very like I would say like American paintings because I was like looking at like Alex Cat, Keith Haring. I was looking at a lot of like I'd say like a Warhol, Basquiat, like traditional like American painters, and I think later I started to realize that like I wanted to like celebrate my culture and I think that's important too, you know, to preserve history and the ideas that you have. So I started making works about the ideas I have, what it means to like identity, and because you have like the whole Chicano movement, and then you like now people are embracing like their paisano side and like that. But I remember at a time it's very divisive. You know, it was looked down upon if like you had a cara de nopal, you know, and you weren't really kind of like socially accepted in school. But now like there's this embrace, or like people are proud of like their lineage, which is cool. You know, like there's an interest of like people learning the history of it, and I think in that conversation now, I want to make work that speaks to that perspective, but also kind of like growing up, you know, like through the internet, and then like growing up in California, but also visiting the pueblo and the city, or where my lineage is from, and then also like also challenging those ideas with friends who don't do art, but I also am like interested to hear their perspective. I think a lot of them give me different views, and I think that's good. So how to figure out because like we speak English and Spanish, but that's not our native language, you know. Uh, so like when it comes to when it comes to like image making, I want to stray away from like letters and language and try to figure out images and figure out how to say one thing in many different ways, and then how that would look in the future. Because I think language is important. So like if you like hieroglyphics
yeah,
and you know like carvings and stuff like that, it's a very like direct way to say something without having all this like fluff in it, you know. And I think
and
that
it's understood by many different cultures without
yeah,
even.
because yeah, growing up in California, you meet different communities, and not everyone has the same understanding or the same POV as you. But it's cool to meet different people because then you're allowed to exchange different ideas, and I want to have more of those conversations with people and see different stuff, you know.
Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing that for us. And right now, I hate to cut you off, but we are gonna take a little break.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back in a few minutes. We're gonna freshen up, and we'll be back, guys. In 177, Danny Brown. We'll be back. Take a little break.